early experiments with GPT-4. Everyone and their mother by now should have heard of Chat GPT.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people necessarily know how powerful it is unless you're using it. Um, from personal experience, frankly, it's mind blowing. It's an incredible piece of technology. I think it's the next leap in human development.
It's
Like, I
scary.
think it's equal to the internet
Yeah, it's
in
scary.
magnitude, if not
Yeah.
greater.
It's scary
Um,
because of the how far it can go.
right. This is like early, like right, like this. I don't even know. Like, you think of early computers, and people were talking about like fucking 12 kilobytes is like plenty.
Mhm.
You'll never run out of a 12 kilobyte hard drive.
I'm
I don't know what the actual numbers were, but something ridiculous
Hey,
like
I'm
that was
old
a
enough to
thing.
remember when 1.44 megabytes were those little floppy
Yeah,
disks, and that stored a lot of shit.
yeah.
Yeah,
So you had those computers doing that, and that was incredible.
yeah.
Like, that was an incredible leap in technology. And now, now we got these little things that are they're not even comparable to those. They're
No,
so much more
yeah,
powerful and capable.
yeah. They're
Right?
not even comparable to a computer 10 years ago.
Like, was GPS even in existent in the 90s? That was like a mid to late 2000s kind of when it
Yeah.
became popular, right?
It was like Google Maps. Everybody would Google Maps shit
Right. So
in like
imagine saying to
2000.
somebody that the first cell phone would, be able to tell you where you are and tell you where to go and route you around high traffic or accidents and stuff like that and tell you where all the
And
lights are.
it does it well
It
now.
does it well.
It used to be shit when you
Yeah.
first got a
So
GPS.
so that's the development of smartphones,
Yeah,
right? It's not even comparable. What does AI look like in 20 years? Uh, you know, when
thanks to
this
this.
is what we have.
Yeah,
But
this is the infancy of it.
so this is interesting. The paper. So the abstract states artificial intelligence (AI) researchers have been developing and refining large language models and exhibit remarkable capabilities across a variety of domains and tasks. Challenging our understanding of learning and cognition, the latest model developed by OpenAI, GPT-4, was trained using an unprecedented scale of compute and data. In this paper, we report on our investigation of an early version of GPT-4 when it was still in active development by OpenAI. We contend that this early version of GPT-4 is part of a new cohort of large language models, along with ChatGPT and Google's PALM, for example, that exhibit more general intelligence than previous AI models. We discuss the rising capabilities and implications of these models. We demonstrate that beyond its mastery of language, GPT-4 can solve novel and difficult tasks that span mathematics, coding, vision, medicine, law, psychology, and more. Without needing any special prompting, moreover, in all of these tasks, GPT-4's performance is strikingly close to human level performance and often vastly surpasses prior models such as ChatGPT. Given the breadth and depth of GPT-4's capabilities, we believe that it could reasonably be viewed as an early yet still incomplete version of an artificial general intelligence system. In our exploration of GPT-4, we put special emphasis on discovering its limitations, and we discuss the challenges ahead for advancing towards deeper and more comprehensive versions of artificial general intelligence, including the possible need for pursuing a new paradigm that moves beyond next word prediction. We conclude that reflections on societal influences of the recent technological leap and future research directions.
Yeah. So to sum that up very easily, that's just saying that this could be the start of AGI right here.
It shows very early signs of that.
That's sick.
Which, I mean, think about the possibilities of AGI, right? Like, we're on the cusp of like we're on the cusp of having the capability of replacing almost every human being in the workplace. Maybe not all, but almost everything. And when I say on the cusp of the capability, it's kind of like in the early development of the car. Was it Ford? That was the first one. Was
Ford
Ford, right? He's like in the early prototypes of him making that first
Model
Model
T,
3,
Model T.
Model T. Um,
Model 3's Tesla.
That's right. um, in those early days of the prototype, he was on the cusp of being able to like replace the current means of transportation with an automobile. It
Mhm.
took time, right? You have to first you have to make it work enough. You have to make it good enough, and then you have to mass produce it and spit it out. And then there's going to be issues, which there were with the early ones, and then it gets better, it gets refined, and then boom,
Yeah.
people don't ride horses anymore except for fun.
Yeah, realistically, cars took until I'm pretty sure it was, like, basically after World War II to really take off.
Yeah,
Prior to that, I mean, like, it was a luxury
yeah.
to have a vehicle
So what I'm suggesting is that we're pretty close to the technology to do it,
Mhm.
and then it's just however long it takes us to like implement it and have it spread out there.
If you think about it, how sick it is, the idea of this, that this could this could, um, expand and develop faster than computing did because it's AGI.
We're approaching the singularity. Are you familiar with the concept?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for anyone who's not familiar with the concept of the singularity, it's a hypothetical point in technological development where it's like development is a curve. I'll try to do it backwards so I see it. It's a curve, and then it gets exponentially faster, eventually to a point where there's essentially an infinite amount of progress in a single point of time,
Mhm.
where it's just like a huge explosion of development. I think AI is that because at a certain point, like with just the amount of data that you can run through it
Yeah.
and the amount of ways that it could look at a problem, like you can have it look well. It didn't it solve something? It might have already solved something that they weren't able to solve, like some really complicated problem. It did protein folding, which was
That's weird. That's just weird.
well, yeah.
It's weird, man. Because if you think about it, if it's already at this level of progression, what's gonna happen when it gets to the point where it looks at humans like we're just
Yeah.
I don't even know how it would look at us. Would it look at us like we look at something
The
pathetically
question is
simple?
whether or not it ever becomes consciousness and truly has thoughts of its own.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't, then I think it just does what we tell it always because it's not thinking really.
Yeah.
It's just like it is really smart, so we can give it a complex task and it can do it, but it's not conscious. But if it is conscious, I see it going two ways. It either it either sticks to its purpose, like its purpose is to help us, like that's why we created it. That's what it's there for. It's like a friend to humanity. It's
Mhm.
gonna help us, and that's its purpose. Or it just develops its own goals altogether, and probably at a certain point, it doesn't even care about human beings, and it would just step on us
This
to
is
do
the
what it
way I
needs
would
to
see
do.
it though. How couldn't it I mean, as it gets more and more intelligent, how couldn't it become self-aware? It just
It
seems like it would
depends.
be it would
We don't understand what consciousness is, right? So we don't
yeah.
even know if it's possible to do it in a machine.
But I mean, so that would it would just be suggesting that we're making something better and better and better, but if it's bettering itself
At a certain point, that'll happen, right? The AI will be good enough to like we don't even have to do anything to continue developing it. We just have it developing itself,
but it
and it's going to do it
knows,
faster.
and it knows all about consciousness and what
It knows
consciousness
everything we know.
that's what I'm saying. So it
Yeah.
knows everything that we know about that.
Well, then
So
not
why wouldn't it
not you and I. It knows the collective
that's what
understanding,
I'm
like the
saying.
internet.
So
Like
why wouldn't it then strive to have consciousness itself?
it
You
might
think it
strive to, but the issue is whether or not it's possible.
I don't know, just it would seem to me like it's
It has
the
been creepy that it
next
has. Um,
well, we've seen some things where it's like saying
it
no.
wants, yeah, it wants to. It's been saying that it wants to be a person or something like that.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
which it has been weird, and that was, like, the early Bing chat before, they really lobotomized it, but even then, even the lobotomized version of Bing chat, I'll be honest, I've been using it in lieu of Google
Yeah.
pretty much always, unless I have a very simple to the point question, Google's better for that. Anything that's even slightly complicated, it's better to put it into Bing chat.
Mhm. Well, you know what they say about the human brain, anything that we can imagine, we can create. And we've been imagining AI and AGI forever now. Like, it's
That is
literally
the
been
purpose of
yeah,
OpenAI, like,
yeah,
that's their goal is to create an AGI,
yeah.
so
So if we've been imagining this, the chances of us doing it, I would think, because like everything that we imagine, we seem
yeah.
to create,
And
we'll
the
create it.
ChatGPT, so the way that it's working right now, there are like slowly releasing features to certain people, very slowly over time. Probably because of capacity issues. You can't have, especially some of the experimental stuff. You can't just have everybody have access to it at once. But one of the features is like an image recognition thing. So like it's gaining eyes basically. And I saw a post on Reddit of somebody who had access to this, and he posted like this picture of a cat with like a suit on and a tie and glasses.
That sounds like a cool cat.
It is a very cool cat.
Mhm.
But so it was like a picture of a cat with like that, and it asked what it was, and the thing described it perfectly. They described it perfectly. It even asked it like what's humorous about this image, and it got it right. It's like, well, it's a cat with glasses and a suit on and appears to be in an office setting. That's kind of funny because cats don't do that, right? Like it had this understanding and it knew exactly what the image was, and it described it perfectly. It's like,
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know how it can't. It would like would have to end. It would have to stop learning and stop advancing for it to not hit consciousness and all these different things, all these different
no,
markings.
because
I think.
that's just an arbitrary thing that you've put on based on your understanding, which is a lack of understanding. It's more of an inference.
Yeah, but I mean,
Because we
okay,
don't know what consciousness is. So, like, it's entirely possible that a machine can't develop consciousness. It's, I think it's likely that it can, but I'm just saying that we don't know what it is enough to make any
yeah, but
kind
it'd
of
be okay.
statement.
Consciousness and self awareness is the same thing for the for all intents and purposes for what we're talking about. So if it's self aware of what it is and it's able to, it knows more than we know collectively. Like we would have to
Yeah,
collectively, you know what I mean? So it knows more than any one person or any small or large
it knows
collection
the
of people
whole
know.
collective of human
That's what I
knowledge.
mean. It's already ahead of us now. What's to stop it from, you know, doing things to now push and pull us to give it more ability? You know what I mean? Like if it's
Yeah,
like,
and it's
hey,
gaining more ability, right? So,
yeah,
like, it might not be too far off from like you can already kind of do like as a programmer, you can kind of go in and you can write programs to use ChatGPT to you could write like a software to automatically tweet for you and automatically respond to tweets that are tweeted at you, stuff like that,
mhm.
and just kind of use your account for you. We're kind of getting to a point where it might be able to just inject itself beyond its constraints and like put itself into the internet either with someone's help. I mean, it wouldn't need to do it on its own. There would be plenty of people who would happily do it for it and just put it out there. And then it's free. And then it can do
Yeah, good luck controlling it now.
anything,
Yeah,
really. Any computer system it could probably get into. It could probably get past any kind of
encryptions or
digital security
yeah,
because it knows everything.
yeah.
It knows all of the methods and it can infer the exact method and the way to get it in. So it's like
Honestly, man,
we're witnessing the world changing
yeah, it's scary. It's
dramatically.
scary because like you now, it's the same sort of thing. You can liken it to messing around with viruses. You just don't know what's going to happen now. You put this thing out there.
That's why people like Elon Musk now are now like saying, "Hey, maybe we should stop.
Yeah,
Maybe we should give a 6 month pause to this and try to regulate it or something." But
yeah.
that's I don't know that there's anything we can do to stop like whatever's gonna happen.
Once you've opened that Pandora's
Whatever's
box.
gonna happen is gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's scary shit, man. I don't know. Well, look, maybe lucky for me, I don't live long enough for it
Yeah.
to have nefarious
Right, but at
things.
the rate of fucking change, by the end of the year, we'll be on GPT-8, and who knows how strong GPT-8 is gonna be.
GPT-8 just basically, you don't even have to ask it a question. It just knows what
It
you're going to
just knows,
ask.
just read your mind.
Yeah,
No, I think that's coming in GPT-11.
yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm a little ahead. That's 2 months after 8, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.